The slam of the car door echoed like a gunshot on the empty highway. "You can't do this, Jareth," Maribel cried, her hand still on the handle. The gravel bit into her thin shoes. Her son, Jareth, stared at her through the driver's side window. His face was cold, like a stranger's. Beside him, his new wife, Calla, just looked straight ahead, refusing to meet Maribel's eyes. "You made your choice, Mom," Jareth said, his voice flat. "No signature, no ride." The car sped off, kicking up a cloud of brown dust and exhaust. Maribel was left with a single, small suitcase at her feet. The suitcase Calla had packed for her weekend trip. She watched the red taillights disappear. Panic, cold and sharp, seized her chest. She reached for her pocket. Empty. Her purse? Calla had put it in the trunk for safety. Her phone, her wallet, her heart medication. All gone. The fight had been brutal. It started over breakfast at a cold, roadside diner. Jareth and Calla needed money for a new investment. They had papers for Maribel to sign, papers that would sell her small house, the only thing she had left. When she refused, the argument exploded. "You're selfish," Jareth had yelled. "After all we've done for you." Now, she was miles from that diner, miles from town, with nothing but the clothes on her back. A hot, dry wind blew tumbleweeds across the cracked asphalt. Maribel felt dizzy. The sun was high and unforgiving. She was 58 years old, abandoned by her only child. This was it. This was how it ended. A sound made her look up. Not a car. It was a faint, electric whir. From a dirt path hidden by sagebrush, a figure emerged. It was an elderly woman in a motorized wheelchair. She was steering it skillfully over the rough ground, a heavy wool blanket on her lap despite the heat. The woman rolled to a stop a few feet from Maribel. Her eyes were sharp and clear, and she wore several expensive-looking rings. She looked at Maribel's face, then at the suitcase, then down the empty road. "He's not coming back for you," the woman said. Her voice was strong, not frail. She pointed a thin finger at Maribel. "Pretend you're my daughter. My driver is coming." Maribel stared, confused and afraid. "Why?" I don't understand." The old woman gave a thin, cold smile. "Because my driver won't stop for a stranger. And your son and his wife will regret this." She held out her hand. "My name is Naoma. Trust me. You have no other choice." Maribel looked at the empty, endless road. She looked at this strange, commanding woman. Naoma was right. Maribel grabbed her suitcase, took the old woman's hand, and followed her. 30 minutes later, a long, black limousine appeared over the horizon, and Maribel's whole world turned upside down. The limousine was silent. Maribel was too afraid to speak, and Naoma simply stared out the tinted window. They drove for over an hour, leaving the highway for a private, unmarked road that wound up a mountain. They stopped at a set of massive iron gates. A man in a sharp black suit, Lowell, approached. He didn't smile. He just opened the car door and pulled out a ramp for Naoma's chair. The house wasn't a home, it was a fortress. Made of dark steel and towering glass, it looked more like a modern museum than a place to live. It was cold and sat on the edge of a cliff overlooking a vast, forested valley. Lowell silently took Maribel's small suitcase. "You will stay in the East Wing," he said, his voice as cold as the house. "Mrs. Naoma has provided clothes for you. Dinner is at 8. Maribel was led to a beautiful, empty room. The closet was full of new clothes, all in her size. It was terrifying. How did they know her size? She felt less like a guest and more like a well-dressed prisoner. She found Naoma in a vast library. "Why am I here?" Maribel asked, her voice shaking. What do you want from me? Naoma sipped her tea. I don't want anything from you, Maribel. I want something for you. Justice. But how did you know? How did you find me? Naoma didn't answer. Instead, she pressed a button on her chair's armrest. A huge television screen descended from the ceiling. It flickered to life. The screen showed a live video feed. Maribel gasped. It was her own living room, from her house. Jareth and Calla were there. They weren't sad or worried. They were laughing. Calla held up a champagne bottle. Jareth clinked his glass against hers. They're celebrating, Naoma said, her voice dangerously quiet. They are toasting to their new, richer life. The one they just bought by selling yours. Do you think Jareth is truly evil, or is he being controlled? Maribel stared at the screen, her heart shattering. Seeing them celebrate felt worse than the abandonment. I don't understand, she whispered. The papers weren't signed. They can't sell the house. Oh, but they already did, Naoma said. She pressed another button. A new video feed appeared. This one was from 2 days ago. It showed Calla meeting a man in a cafe. Calla has a lifestyle brand she's trying to fund, Naoma explained. It's failing. She's desperate for cash. The video showed Calla handing the man a document. Your son, Jareth, gave Calla power of attorney 6 months ago, Naoma said. He thought it was for emergencies. Calla used it to take out a massive loan against your house. Maribel felt sick. The fight in the car, it wasn't about getting her to sign to sell. It was about getting her to sign a new document, one that would make the illegal loan disappear and transfer all the blame to Maribel. When Maribel refused to sign, they panicked. They couldn't let her go to the police. So they drove her into the middle of nowhere and left her. They assumed she would just disappear. They emptied your bank accounts this afternoon, Naoma stated. All of it. Your retirement. Your savings. It's gone. Maribel slumped into a chair, the full weight of the betrayal crushing her. Jareth, her baby boy, had given Calla the weapon to destroy her. How do you know all this? Maribel wept. Naoma's face hardened. Because the man Calla met in that cafe? The investor she thinks is going to save her company? Naoma leaned forward. He works for me. Calla just walked into the perfect trap. What should Maribel and Naoma do next? Your man? Maribel was confused. You set Calla up? I set a trap for a predator, Naoma corrected. And she walked right into it. She turned her wheelchair to face a large portrait over the fireplace. It showed a young, smiling woman. You ask me why I'm doing this, Naoma said, her voice softening for the first time. People think I'm just a bitter old woman in a chair. They aren't wrong. But they don't know why. It was my daughter, Naoma said, her voice laced with ice. My own flesh and blood. She and her husband, a charming con artist, wanted my company. I wouldn't give it to them. So, they arranged an accident. Naoma tapped the arm of her wheelchair. They cut the brakes on my car. They thought I would die. When I survived, they paid a doctor to declare me unfit and tried to take control. Maribel listened, horrified. Naoma's story was so much like her own. I fought back, Naoma continued. In secret. I rebuilt my life, my fortune. I destroyed them. I took everything, just like they tried to do to me. And ever since, I have made it my mission to find people like Calla. People who prey on their own family. Naoma turned back to Maribel, her eyes sharp. I find them, and I break them. Maribel was stunned into silence. This woman wasn't just a savior, she was an executioner. But that still doesn't explain, Maribel said, how you found me. Naoma gave a small, sad smile. I wasn't looking for you, Maribel. I was looking for her. She pointed to the portrait. I've been watching Jareth and Calla for months, ever since Calla first tried to get money from my organization. But I found you. It was fate, Naoma said. She wheeled closer and took Maribel's hand. That woman in the portrait, she wasn't just my best friend. She was my sister. Your mother, Trina. Naoma is Maribel's aunt. Exploding head. This changes everything. Maribel's head was spinning. My aunt? My mother told me her sister died. Years ago. A different kind of death, Naoma said bitterly. Your mother was simple. She wanted a quiet life. I wanted an empire. We argued, and she erased me. It was easier than telling her daughter she had a black sheep sister who cared more about boardrooms than birthdays. After Trina died, Naoma confessed, I promised I would watch over you. From a distance. I never wanted to interfere. But then, I saw Calla. I saw what she was doing to you, to Jareth. I saw history repeating itself. Maribel finally understood. This wasn't chance. It was a long overdue family reunion, born from tragedy. So, the man Calla met, Maribel said, piecing it together. He's not just an employee. He's part of your team. He is, Naoma confirmed. And he's been Calla's business partner for 3 months. He has recordings, emails, bank transfers. He has everything we need to prove Calla's fraud. Maribel's mind was racing. We can go to the police. We can have her arrested. We could, Naoma agreed. But that would also trap Jareth. He's an accomplice, even if he was a blind fool. Calla would drag him down with her. Naoma's eyes narrowed. I believe in a cleaner solution. Calla thinks her partner is bringing a major investor to a meeting tomorrow, Naoma said. She thinks it's the deal that will make her rich. She has no idea she's walking into her own execution. Lowell, Naoma called out. The stern assistant entered the room. Bring him in. A moment later, Lowell returned, pushing another man into the room. Maribel gasped and stood up. It wasn't a stranger. It was Cassidy. Jareth's best friend since childhood. The man who had been the best man at their wedding. Jareth's best friend is in on it. This betrayal is deeper than we thought. What is Cassidy's plan? Cassidy? Maribel was shaking. You've been working with her? Cassidy had the grace to look ashamed. Maribel. Mrs. Almond. I had to. He looked at Naoma, who nodded for him to continue. I've known Jareth my whole life, Cassidy said. He was my brother. But Calla, she changed him. She isolated him. She made him weak. When Jareth first told me Calla needed money for her business, I looked into it, Cassidy explained. It was a mess. All debt. I told Jareth to run. He didn't listen. Calla cut me out of his life. Cassidy clenched his fists. Then I found out Calla was trying to get loans elsewhere. I followed the money, and it led me to Mrs. Naoma's organization. Cassidy came to me as a whistleblower, Naoma said. I offered him a job as a double agent. He's the one who's been feeding Calla the lies. He's the one who set up the sham investment. Maribel's mind was a storm. So, Calla has been admitting everything to you? Everything, Cassidy confirmed. She's on tape bragging about how she'll have full control of your house. How she'll deal with Jareth after the money is secure. She called him her stupid, lovesick puppy. The words hit Maribel like a physical blow. Her poor, foolish son. Tomorrow, Naoma said, is the final meeting. Calla thinks she's signing the investment papers. Instead, she will be signing a full confession. And she'll be signing over every asset she has, to me. What about Jareth? Maribel asked. He's Calla's problem, Naoma said. Our plan only saves you. No, Maribel said, a new strength in her voice. He's my son. He was a fool, but he's my fool. I won't let her destroy him, too. Naoma studied her. Then you'd better be convincing. She handed Maribel a cell phone. Calla blocked your number. But she won't block this one. Naoma dialed, and the phone rang. Jareth, Naoma whispered. Tell him you've been found. Tell him you're safe. And tell him you're ready to sign. Maribel is going to face her son. What will he do when he hears her voice? Maribel's thumb hovered over the call button. Her heart hammered against her ribs. I don't know if I can do this, she whispered. Yes, you can, Naoma said, her voice firm. You are not the woman he left on the side of the road. You are Trina's sister. You are a survivor. Now, call him. Maribel pressed the button. It rang once. Twice. Hello? Jareth's voice was sharp, annoyed. He was clearly in the middle of his celebration. Jareth? The line went silent. Maribel could hear Calla's music in the background. Mom? Jareth's voice was a strained whisper. Mom? Where are you? Are you okay? A nice woman found me, Maribel said, sticking to Naoma's script. She gave me a place to stay for the night. Oh, thank God, Jareth breathed. Maribel could hear the genuine relief in his voice, and it almost broke her. See, Calla? I told you she'd be fine. Jareth, listen, Maribel said, forcing tears into her voice. I'm sorry. I was wrong. You were right. I'm just a burden. I'll sign the papers. I'll sign whatever you want. More silence. She heard him cover the phone, whispering frantically to Calla. Mom, that's great, he finally said, his voice bright and fake. Calla and I were so worried. Where are you? We'll come and get you. No! Maribel said, a little too quickly. This woman. Naoma, she says she'll take me. To the bank. Tomorrow. I can sign everything there. Another muffled conversation. Calla's angry voice was audible. It's a trap. Tell her no. Shut up, Calla. Jareth hissed. Mom, the bank is a great idea. 10 a.m. The downtown branch. We'll see you then. We love you. The line clicked dead. Maribel's hand was shaking so badly she dropped the phone. She had done it. He's not a monster, Maribel whispered to Naoma. He's just lost. He is, Naoma agreed. But tomorrow, at that bank, he's going to find out exactly who led him astray. Naoma smiled. Lowell, prepare the car. And call the bank manager. Tell him our private meeting is confirmed. The meeting is set. Jareth, Calla, Maribel, and Naoma, all in one room. This is going to explode. The bank's private meeting room was all glass and polished wood. Maribel sat at the head of the table. Lowell stood behind her. Naoma was positioned at the other end, like a queen on a throne. The door opened, and Jareth and Calla walked in. Jareth looked pale and exhausted. Calla, however, looked triumphant. She was wearing a new, expensive suit, ready to meet her investor. "Mom!" Jareth rushed forward to hug her, but Lowell stepped in his path. "Please, have a seat, Mr. Almond," Lowell said. Calla's eyes darted to Naoma. "Who is this?" she snapped, her confidence wavering. "This is Mrs. Naoma," Maribel said, her voice steady. "The woman who saved me." "Wonderful," Calla said, sitting down. "Let's get this over with." "Where are the papers?" "Right here," said a new voice. The door opened again. Cassidy walked in, carrying a briefcase. Jareth's jaw dropped. "Cassidy? What the hell are you doing here?" "I'm the investor, Jareth," Cassidy said. "The one Calla's been working with for 3 months." Calla's face went white. She lunged for the door, but Lowell was already there, blocking her exit. "Jareth, she's lying!" Calla shrieked. "He's lying! Tell them, Jareth!" But Jareth was staring at Cassidy, the betrayal dawning on his face. "I have it all, Calla," Cassidy said. He opened his briefcase and pulled out a small recorder. He pressed play. Calla's voice filled the room. "My stupid, lovesick puppy, he'll sign anything. After this, I'll have the house, the money, and I can finally dump Jareth and his pathetic mother." The recording clicked off. Jareth looked like he had been punched in the gut. He slowly turned to Calla. "What did you do?" "She did what predators do, Jareth." "She hunted," Naoma said. "This is illegal." Calla screamed. "You can't record me. I'll sue." "You'll do nothing," Naoma said. She slid a thick file across the table. "That is a full confession of bank fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy. You will sign it." Calla laughed. "Or what?" "Or," Naoma said, "I will send this entire file, including the recordings, your faked business expenses, and the proof you forged Jareth's signature on the first loan, to the district attorney." Naoma smiled. "And to your husband." Calla looked at Jareth. His face was pure, cold rage. He wasn't her puppy anymore. He was her jailer. Calla is completely trapped. But what about Jareth? Is he a victim or an accomplice? Calla's hands were shaking as she signed the papers. She was signing away her company, her assets, and any claim to Maribel's house. She was left with nothing but the clothes on her back. "Get out," Jareth said. His voice was dead. "Jareth, baby, please," Calla sobbed. "It wasn't. I didn't mean." "Get out," he roared. Calla flinched, grabbed her purse, and ran from the room. Silence. Jareth stood with his back to them, his shoulders shaking. He was weeping. He finally turned to Maribel. His face was a mask of shame. "Mom," he choked out. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know." Maribel's heart ached for him. She stood up to go to him, to hold her son. But Naoma spoke first. "You are sorry. But are you innocent?" Jareth froze. "What?" "You didn't know she was a fraud," Naoma said. "But you did know you were leaving your mother on a deserted road. You did know you were taking her home. You did know she had no money and no phone." "He's your son, Maribel," Naoma said, turning to her. "He is not as evil as his wife. But he is not as pure as his mother." Maribel looked at Jareth. She saw the little boy who scraped his knee. She saw the teenager who broke his first heart. And she saw the man who had abandoned her for money. "I love you, Jareth," Maribel said, her voice breaking. "But I don't trust you. I don't even know you." "Mom, please, I can fix this," he begged. "No," Maribel said. You can't. She walked past him to the door. I'll be staying with my aunt. Naoma. Jareth's head snapped up, confused. Aunt? Maribel didn't explain. She just walked out of the bank. That night, Maribel sat with Naoma. The victory felt empty. He lost everything, Maribel said. His wife. His money. His mother. Yes, Naoma said. He did. She looked at Maribel. The house is yours again. The money Calla stole has been returned. You are free. You can go back to your old life. Maribel looked out the window. I don't have an old life to go back to. No, Naoma agreed. But you have a new one. She held out a file. I'm an old woman, Maribel. I can't run my organization forever. I need a partner. Someone with your mother's heart and my steel. Maribel looked at the file, then at her aunt. It was a job offer. A new life. But what about Jareth? Maribel asked. He is a grown man, Naoma said. He made his choice. And now, Naoma said, her eyes intense, you have to make yours. Will you spend the rest of your life as Jareth's broken mother? Or will you become my partner? This is the ultimate choice. Should Maribel help Naoma, or try to forgive Jareth? Maribel looked at the file, then at her aunt. She thought of the woman left on the road, helpless and crying. That woman was gone. I will, Maribel said. Her voice was strong. I'll be your partner. A rare, genuine smile spread across Naoma's face. I knew Trina's blood was in you. The next few months were a blur. Maribel moved into the glass fortress permanently. She learned about Naoma's network, a secret foundation dedicated to helping people, mostly women, who had been betrayed by their families. Maribel had a purpose. She wasn't a victim, she was a rescuer. She used her own story to connect with others, to give them the same hope Naoma had given her. She didn't see Jareth. She heard from Cassidy that he was living in a small apartment, working a low-wage job. He was in therapy. He was paying off the debts Calla had left him. One day, 6 months later, Jareth showed up at the gates. Lowell called Maribel. He's here. He says he won't leave. Maribel went down. Jareth looked thin, but clear-eyed. He wasn't crying. He wasn't begging. He was just calm. Mom, he said. I'm not here to ask for money. I'm not here to ask you to come home. I'm here to apply for a job. Maribel raised an eyebrow. At the gate, he said, pointing. The security booth. Or gardening. Or cleaning the floors. I don't care. I know what you do here. I've read about the foundation. I want to help. I need to pay back. Not just the money. I need to earn something. Maribel looked at him for a long, long time. He was not the boy she'd raised. He was a new man. A broken one, trying to rebuild. She turned to Lowell. Get him a uniform. He starts Monday. Groundskeeping. Yes, ma'am, Lowell said. Jareth's eyes filled with tears, but he blinked them back. Thank you, Mom. Don't call me Mom, Maribel said, her voice not unkind. Here, I'm Mrs. Almond. You have a long way to go, Jareth. A very long way. She turned and walked back into the house, leaving her son outside the gates, finally ready to work his way in. Maribel joined Naoma on the terrace. They looked down at Jareth, who was already picking up a fallen branch. You are tougher than I thought, Naoma said, impressed. He has to learn, Maribel said, sipping her tea. We can be abandoned. We can be broken. But we do not have to stay that way. She looked out over the valley, no longer a prisoner, but a queen. We can rebuild. What a powerful ending! Maribel found her strength, and Jareth is on the long path to redemption. Do you think Maribel made the right choice? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more incredible stories.